The tape doesn't lie. Joining me now is Ryan Grimm, Washington bureau chief of the Huffington Post. He did some of the first reporting on these secret Romney tapes. And Michelle Carter, Washington reporter for the Daily Beast and Newsweek. Thank you both for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan.
Ryan, let me go to you first. What do you think of Romney's new spin today on these videotapes?
Well, the spin is almost more damaging than the original clips. Let's go back to what he told Neil Cavuto. He said people, and what he said in the clip. He said people who don't pay taxes, and let's pretend there are all of these people that don't pay taxes. People who don't pay taxes won't benefit from tax cuts, so therefore they won't listen to my argument. Well, that is him admitting that trickle-down economics is a lie.
Right.
You know, if you really believe that cutting taxes for the rich benefits everybody, then you take that argument to everybody and you say, hey, look, 47% of deadbeats, I'm going to cut taxes for the rich, and that's going to help you because the economy is going to grow, et cetera, et cetera. We all know that, you know, the lip service that trickle-down economics plays. So the fact that in a closed-door meeting, he doesn't even pretend that tax cuts for the rich will help people other than the rich is very telling. I mean, it's something we all know after the last 30 years of trying it, but it's interesting to see him say it publicly.
But Michelle,
sort of publicly.
What he's actually saying in this tape, this is no one reporting it, this is him speaking, is that he has a strategy of playing in the dividing line and playing one against another. I'm going to write 47% off because our policies don't work for them, and I'm going to play to those that feel they will get an advantage. I mean, it's the most polarizing, blatantly divisive strategy I've ever seen someone say that's running for president of all the people.
It's a little bit too much honesty there, but I think, you know, on one hand you have Romney's problem, which he says he's playing for that 5 to 10% who vote on things like emotion and whether they like the guy, whether they think the guy is likable. I'm not sure he wants to play that game. I mean, what he's doing specifically here is playing to his base, a lot of whom share his view that the half the country that votes Democratic do so because they don't understand what it's like to be successful or they're dependent on government. I mean, what he's doing here is clearly kind of pandering to the conservative base of his party.
But imagine, let's just reverse it. When you look at people like me that were so outraged when we heard it, imagine if there was a tape with Barack Obama, even as President Barack Obama, or candidate, saying, I don't care about the rich. I'm not going to worry about them. I don't care about them at all. I'm only going to care about trying to get enough to win. What they would do to the president or what they would do to any candidate that was in the Democratic Party if they had a tape saying that to donors who are they're asking to contribute to finance this strategy.
Exactly. And what you see happening here is today people have lined up to take one big whack at him after another. And whatever he's been saying, trying to backtrack, or I think there's been some very fancy tap dancing going on, but the reality remains he's on the defensive once again. And any day that he is on the defensive is a bad day for him because he's still not doing well enough to be coasting. He needs to be on the offensive with his message, and he's had to spend his day doing damage control one more time.
Damage he caused. Ryan, when you look at the hidden camera tapes and the Make fundraiser, he talked about how his campaign approaches voters they think they can win over. Watch this.
We speak with voters across the country about their perceptions. Those people I told you, the 5 to 6 or 7% that we have to bring on our side, they all voted for Barack Obama 4 years ago. So, and by the way, when you say to them, do you think Barack Obama is a failure, they overwhelmingly say no. They like him, but when you say, are you disappointed that his policies haven't worked, they say yes. And because they voted for him, they don't want to be told that they were wrong, that he's a bad guy, that he did bad things, that he's corrupt.
That he's corrupt. Now, these are new tapes released today. These are tapes we have not seen before, Ryan. He also went on to talk about how he's going to be vilified. Watch this.
What he's going to do, by the way, is try and vilify me as someone who's been successful, or who's closed businesses or laid people off and isn't an evil bad guy. And that may work.
So he's going to be vilified for being successful, trying to play that the president is going to make him look bad only because he's successful, Ryan. A really divisive, polarizing, and dishonest strategy.
Right, although, you know, the president has accused him of laying people off, and in many cases accurately so. Now, I think what Romney was saying in that first clip actually is that he got to saying something true there. Romney here is making the case that Obama is failing because the economy hasn't recovered fast enough, and that, I think, is the most persuasive argument that you can make to a swing voter. You can say, he's a good guy, he's not corrupt, I like him a lot, I'm glad I voted for him, I'm glad I gave him a shot, but look, he hasn't been up to the job, there's still high unemployment, he should have done better. You know, and Bill Clinton had a good formulation of it, you know, something like, you know, we messed it up and he hasn't cleaned it up fast enough. That's how Bill Clinton rephrased it. But said the way Romney said it, that is the best argument that I think they have against a candidate who, or a president who actually is well liked and who did inherit what people do say is a really bad situation.
It would be a fair point if it wasn't in the context of we've already wiped away 47% of the American people who don't take on their own responsibility. Let's not forget this is all one delivery.
No, that's exactly true. And by wiping out the 47% of the Americans, it makes it basically impossible for him to pick up those other. He has this this notion that there is this 5 to 10% censor that he refers to that is somehow distinct from this other 47% that he refers to. But that's crazy. You know, that 5 to 10% is going to see themselves as the same, you know, 47%, because the way that Romney presents America misunderstands the way that people relate to government and to the safety net. Some years you're doing well and you're contributing to the system. Other years you're not doing as well and you're taking a little bit more from it. In your old age, you do feel entitled to health care and to security.
Well, maybe because you invested in it, but
exactly.
I mean, he's talking like if these people are getting handouts, they're lazy, they're irresponsible, they're just laying back collecting government money, and it's an insult to a lot of our seniors, and it's an insult to people that are barely trying to get by. But let me tell you, Michelle, a lot of his own conservatives turned on him today because this is so callous. New York Times today, David Brooks attacks Mitt Romney for his comments at the May fundraiser. This David Brooks, conservative columnist, great. It suggests that he really doesn't know much about the country he inhabits. As a description of America today, Romney's comment is a country club fantasy. It's what self-satisfied millionaires say to each other. It reinforces every negative view of people have about Romney. He's running a depressingly inept presidential campaign. This is his friends. Conservative columnist Bill Kristol at the Weekly Standard had harsh words. He says, quote, it's worth recalling that a good chunk of the 47% who don't pay income taxes are Romney supporters. So Romney seems to have contempt not just for Democrats who oppose him, but for tens of millions who intend to vote for him. Romney's comments are stupid and arrogant. These are two conservatives.
Exactly.
Michelle?
With friends like these, who needs the opposition? But the reality is, Republican establishment folks have always been a little bit nervous about Mitt Romney because everybody knew he had these problems going in. He wound up as the nominee, you know, on some level because that was all that was left after all the various surges. But people are quick to jump on him because he doesn't have a loyal constituency pretty much anywhere. I mean, who's the Romney Republican on some level? So people get nervous when he starts doing things that, you know, make him fit the picture that people have been painting of him as this rich plutocrat who's out of touch, and they are going to jump on him. And I guess, you know, as Brooks put it in his column, he'd like to see him pull this out. He's just not entirely convinced that Romney can do it.
Ryan Graham and Michelle Cotto, thanks for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks, Reverend.
So these secret tapes reveal what Mitt Romney really thinks. But they also reveal